to Gen 3D Tech. Today we're going to be reviewing a mouse, the Dornfinger Veno-S S1. Greetings, welcome to Gen 3D Tech. My name's Dave, and today we're going to be reviewing the Dornfinger Veno-S. Here we go. Start off, the shape is very similar to the Starlight. This is a wired mouse, obviously. One of the interesting things for a lightweight mouse is it's got buttons on both sides, and a lot to do. And one that's nice thing about this is that this button right here, you can turn the left or right off, or you can have both of them on. And I turned the right buttons off because I was accidentally hitting them occasionally. Another thing that you can kind of notice by looking at the shine on there is there's a really nice coating on this mouse. I've honestly never felt any kind of coating like this before. It's really slick, it looks really nice, but even though it's slick, it doesn't really slip out of my hands, and I like the way it feels. It just took a little time getting used to. The coating that's on the red buttons is slightly different and has a little bit of less slickness to it, maybe almost a little bit of texture. Just feels different, and I have no problems keeping my fingers on the buttons. Another thing you'll notice possibly is on the bottom of the skates, are not your typical stock skates. They're Tiger Ice skates, which normally can cost you like $10. And not only do you get these installed on here, but in the box you get an extra set. And I'll show you on the mouse pad in a little bit, but they slide really well. I think that's a great add. Kudos to them for going after some nice skates like that. Like I said before, you get an extra pair of skates. Another nice thing is they even give you a little alcohol pad, so when you pull off the older ones, and you can get the residue cleaned off, you can adhere this properly. It's just a nice little touch. Another interesting thing about this mouse are the switches. While a lot of other mice have kale switches or Omron switches, these have Hano blue pink switches, which do require a little bit more force to press, but they're very durable and they have a nice click to them. Very tactile feel. They just feel different, and I like them a lot, and I think they'll last a really long time. This will still last 80 million clicks, and this is how they sound. One exceptional thing about this mouse is there's virtually no pre and post travel. Let me see if I can give you a nice view. You can see right there, you click on it, and there's just nothing, it just clicks right away. Even back here, it registers the clicks perfectly. So it really doesn't matter where you press it. It's gonna, it's gonna register. So when you're gaming, you know that your clicks are gonna count no matter where you press, which is very important. Now, another thing that's really neat on this mouse is that a lot of mice, the other buttons are not so great. They might have good left and right buttons, but they sometimes skimp on the other ones. Sometimes these will also stick out quite a bit, or they're in too far. These are just the right amount. There's really no pre and post travel on those either. And this button, the DPI, is not really good on a lot of mice, but you don't touch it that much, so it's not super important. But this one's nice and crispy. Another thing I like about this mouse is the scroll wheel. It's not really noisy. I really don't like a noisy scroll wheel, but I do like a tactile feeling one, which this is, and it's a kind of a soft rubber tactile. Feels really nice and smooth. It's just the right amount. Um, the other thing about this, it has a nice paracord cable. It moves around really nice. Doesn't get caught underneath. I use it with the bungee. One thing about these paracord cables is a lot of times they can get frayed, so you got to be careful with them. Um, it's not super uncommon, but keeping it in a bungee will help it from fraying, so that's a good thing. So yeah, there's a lot to like about all the switches on this mouse. Um, it's a solid um, mouse, and you're not gonna run into any issues of not having clicks register. Um, and I think it'll last a long time. It's nice and sturdy. Um, it creaks just a little bit, but you have to press really, really hard. Most mice are that way. There's very few that have, little to no creak, but this one barely has any. I'm not really worried at all about the sturdiness of this. I think it'll last for as long as you want to use it. All right, we'll go ahead and weigh this thing. You can see on my scale it says 71 grams. Some of that's the cable there. One thing that's really nice is right here on the sides. You can see it's solid right there, which when it's honeycomb right there, it can be really uncomfortable. And quite often you have to put a tape on the side to make it feel nice. But I have no need to use tape on this mouse. I just like the way it feels. All right, so this is the software for the Veno-S, and start off with the DPI settings. You can see there's 6 different levels of DPI, and you can actually turn them off if you want to, so that way you don't have to scroll through so many of them. There's a slider here you can adjust. You can also change the colors. Um, but so far I didn't have to change any of these. I'm okay with the way they are. And then of course you can right here reassign the buttons. So there's 8 of them here. Um, then over here we got the lighting. We've got all these different modes. They're all pretty nice. Most mice that have RGB have all these different settings. Uh, the default one is pretty nice. So I've left it on that, but you can go through there and figure out which one you like, and you can change the speed right here and the direction. And this right here, this is where you want to make sure this is unclicked because it's usually clicked by default. The improved pointer precision. You always want to make sure you have that unclicked. Right here, the low detail, LOD. By default, I think it was 2 millimeters, and I switch it to 1, which is what's recommended. And then the demount time, it can be all the way from 10 to 2. So I set it to 2. And right here is where you can set the polling rate. Best just leave it at 1,000. I don't remember if it was there by default. A lot of these mice, for some reason, will default to 500. So the first thing I always do is go in there and make sure that they're set to 1,000, or see if they're even capable of it. That's pretty much it for the software. It's real basic, but it does the job, and it's clean looking. Some of them look whack, and this one's pretty clean. So yeah. So you're probably wondering how it performs in games. Well, I used it for several days and played all kinds of games, and you know, um, I did really well with it. At times, I set a couple personal records in some of the games. yeah, so it's a good mouse. So in game, it does really well. I've got a few highlights here, and then I'll show you. All right, so let's check out these highlights. Yeah, this is a really nice mouse. I'd love it to be wireless, but I asked them about that. And they're a small company, and they didn't say they wouldn't do it, but I guess it's going to take some time. And I guess it depends on how well this mouse does. But so far, this is my favorite wired mouse that I've tested out of about 40 mice. Yeah, and it's very well balanced mouse too. Some mice have all the weight in the front or the back or all in the middle, but it just feels very nice and balanced. And it just feels really good in the hand. It fits my hand just perfectly. You might be wondering what sensors in this bad boy. And it's actually the Pixar 3370 sensor. And it's typically found in a lot of wireless mice, but here in this wired mouse, it's a very reliable sensor, which is maybe why they use it. It doesn't have any spin out issues whatsoever. It's just, it's a good sensor that's not going to give you any kind of problems. It's just going to work. As far as the price on this mouse, you can order it from their website uh, for €59. I believe shipped. Everything came out to about, I think it was just under $80. Took about a week to get to the States. Came DHL. Um, there was no taxes on it, so it's a pretty good deal for a mouse of this caliber. It just feels extremely premium. That's what I like most about it. Um, if this thing, like I said, if this thing is wireless, this would be um, my favorite mouse by far. It slides really well with those skates. Yeah, it's very fast. It feels lighter than it actually is, also. Now I realize, this is an almost $80 mouse, and you have to get it all the way from Europe. It takes some time. You could just go to Best Buy, most likely if you're in America, and just get a Razer or something, Razer Viper. They've got the 8K wired mouse, which is, you know, similar size and feel. But you know, I've, I've felt both mice, and this one feels much better in your hands. And you know, the other thing that a lot of people don't consider, I don't think, is just you know, sometimes you just want to be unique, and you don't want to have what everyone else has. Um, so you know, it's kind of cool to have something that not a lot of people have. You know, almost everybody has a freaking Razer or a Logitech mouse. Those are all really nice mice, but you know, I like having uh, something that's a little different. Um, Makes your setup a little unique. Um, so yeah, that's something to consider. You know, is if you want to have something that's not just like, you know, what the Joneses have. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this mouse review, and I'll be having another one here real soon. Maybe in the next day or two. Um, we're going to be reviewing the um, Tryhard Oni S Wireless. In fact, I would have been reviewing that one, but it got lost in the mail. But people at Tryhard are really nice customer service, and they're sending me another one right now, so it's on its way. So as soon as it gets here, I'll put it through the ringer and get the review uploaded, and then we'll move on to the next one. I've been doing a lot of legwork getting uh, all the B-roll filmed for a lot of the mice and a lot of pictures for the thumbnails. So yeah, they're going to be coming fast and furious after this one. So hope you enjoyed this review, and there'll be lots more to see. So thank you, and see you next time.